It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. Really? This evening, I'd like to show you 4 women who were not prepared to do what society expected. Arguably, the most famous star-crossed lover of all time is Shakespeare's Juliet. Supposed to marry her father's choice Paris, instead she chose Romeo. In this scene, the nurse arrives to tell Juliet that Romeo has murdered her cousin Tybalt and is now banished. Shall I speak ill of him? That is my husband. Oh, my lord, what tongue shall smooth thy name when I, thy 3 hours wife, have mangled it? But wherefore, villain, dost thou kill my cousin? That villain cousin would have killed my husband. Oh, back, foolish tears, back to your native spring. Your tributary drops belong to woe, which you mistaking offer up to joy. My husband lives. That Tybalt would have slain. And Tybalt's dead, that would have slain my husband. All this is comfort. Wherefore I weep then? Some word there was, worser than Tybalt's death, that murdered me. I would forget it fain, but oh, it presses to my memory like damn guilty deeds to sinners' minds. Tybalt is dead, and Romeo banished. That banished, that one word banished, has slain 10,000 Tybalts. Tybalt's death was woe enough if it had ended there, but with a rearward following Tybalt's death. Romeo is banished. To speak that word, his father, mother, Tybalt, Romeo, Juliet, all slain, all dead. Romeo is banished. There is no end, no limit, measure, bound in that word's death. No words that word can sound. While Juliet knew in an instant that Romeo was the only man for her, Elizabeth Bennet, from Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, takes a long time to even like Mr. Darcy, let alone considering living happily ever after with him. However, she is not going to be told what she can and cannot do. In the same extract, Lady Catherine de Bourgh has visited Elizabeth, demanding that she never enter into an engagement with her nephew. I will make no promise of the kind. Miss Bennet, I shall not go away till you have given me the assurance I require. How far your nephew might approve of your interference in his affairs I cannot tell, but you have certainly no right to concern yourself in mine. I am no stranger to the particulars of your youngest sister's infamous elopement. Is such a girl to be my nephew's sister? Heaven and earth! Are the shades of Pemberley to be thus polluted? You can now have nothing further to say, Elizabeth resentfully answered. You have insulted me in every possible method. I must beg to return to the house. Her ladyship was highly incensed. Unfeeling, selfish girl! Do you not consider that a connection with you must disgrace him in the eyes of everybody? Lady Catherine, I have nothing further to say. You are then resolved to have him? I am only resolved to act in that manner which will constitute my happiness without reference to you. You refuse then to obey the claims of duty, honour, and gratitude. You are determined to ruin him. Neither duty, nor honour, nor gratitude, replied Elizabeth, have any possible claim on me in the present instance. No principle of either would be violated by my marriage with Mr. Darcy. Do not imagine, Miss Bennet, that your ambition will ever be gratified. They were at the door of the carriage. I take no leave of you. I send no compliments to your mother. You deserve no such attention. I am most seriously displeased. Real life is not a fairy tale. No knights in shining armour ready to rescue a damsel in distress. But even if there were, is that what we want? The following stanza from Not My Best Side by Ursula Fanthorpe wonders if it is. It's hard for a girl to be sure if she wants to be rescued. I mean, I quite took to the dragon. It's nice to be light, if you know what I mean. Oh, he was so nicely physical, with his claws and lovely green skin, and that sexy tail, and the way he looked at me. He made me feel he was all ready to eat me. And any girl enjoys that. So when this boy turned up, wearing machinery, on a really dangerous horse, to be honest, I didn't much fancy him. I mean, what was he like underneath the hardware? He might have acne, blackheads, or even bad breath, all I could tell. But the dragon, well, you could see all his equipment at a glance. Still, what could I do? The dragon got himself beaten by the boy. The girl's got to think of the future. What if the barrier from following your heart comes from within? In Boys by Alec Hickson, Sophie and Mac haven't pursued their relationship because to do so, she must break up with Peter. On the day she did, Peter hung himself. This scene takes place in the late stages of a graduation party. Sophie is drunk and is talking to Mac. Have you ever felt any guilt? Because it's come as a bit of surprise that you want. I don't. Can't actually feel it. Like I can't get my body to do it on its own. It's not something I can generate somehow. Thought it might be shock at first, and then grief. Well, but I think I might not feel it. I can't. I don't. You know, all I can feel is total joy, total peace. You know, I look at you and I actually make myself think of him. I force him into my head, and even then I don't feel guilty. What does that mean? What kind of person does that make me? Sometimes I think it's because what we have is love. Meant to be that we love each other, yes, that's what I sometimes think. Is that ridiculous? You know, and sometimes I think that love is so important that it is bigger than or equal to what he did. Does that make me a monster? You know, I sat at his funeral, looking at his parents and Benny, but all I could think of, you know, all I could feel was you. But then I look at you and I wonder if it's actually there. You know, I wonder if I added up the amount of minutes, hours, fucking days I have spent thinking about you. God, the amount of fucking lying that I have done. If I weighed it up against anything you've ever actually said. Then you do the smallest thing. You make me a cup of tea when I don't ask, or you touch my hand really lightly in a room full of people and I think, no, Sophie, don't laugh. Don't laugh because it's real. And it's so much more real because it's unsaid and unspoken, and it's so much more real because I don't know if it's there. Please say something. Please. Please. Perhaps I should not be so cynical about finding Mr. Rise and living happily ever after. Who knows? Our damsel in distress may have been very content with her gallant life. After all, as Charlotte Lucas says, happiness in marriage is entirely a matter of chance.